Okay, cool. What's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WP Blab. This is awesome. This is amazing that we got all these folks on here, and we're going to talk a little bit about justifying the expense by the experience, all about WordCamps, and in particular, WordCamp US. So, Bridget, tell some folks about you real quick.
I'm marketing manager of WordImpress. We make Give the most robust online donation form. You can find out more at givewp.com.
Awesome. I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me over at jasontucker.us. I do a whole bunch of stuff over there. I also do some audio video stuff over at WP Watercooler and WPmedia.pro. That's about it. Adam, what about you?
I'm Adam Silver. I podcast weekly over at kitchensinkwp.com, and I am leaving a day job tomorrow afternoon to do my own thing, period. And I'm also the organizer for WordCamp LA.
Awesome.
Sweet. What about you, Jason?
And I'm Jason Lemire. I am the project lead at Postmatic, which we make a series of commenting plugins. Our flagship being Postmatic, which enables two-way email comment notifications and post and digest subscriptions in WordPress, as it should be. And you can find us at gopostmatic.com.
Awesome. Well, both of you, thank you very much for being on. Really appreciate it. I just want to tell folks in the chat, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to leave us a question, and we'll be more than happy to get one of us forward to actually answer it. That's about it. If you want to hit the share buttons or whatever to let people know we're recording, I'd appreciate that. There's a little Twitter button, a little Facebook button. Awesome. So let's kind of get the topic at hand here. So before we get started, I just want to say that I really like WordCamps a lot, and I really appreciate all the time, effort, energy. I've even done this myself of going through setting up a WordCamp and having to deal with all the stuff that comes along with it. So I want to make 100% sure that folks know that we're not here to bash WordCamps, and we're not here to bash any particular WordCamp. I think with anything when it comes to these, especially with the main national conference WordCamp, which is WordCamp US now, having to go from WordCamp San Francisco to WordCamp US, where now it's kind of a road show, and every 2 years it moves around. I kind of think of it as like the Olympics in a way. It's just you're just going to move around from state to state and city to city, and just kind of see how things go. So I wanted to get all you folks on here to kind of discuss this a little bit. Bridget and I were kind of going back and forth on this, trying to figure out what's the right approach for this. I will say up front, I'm not going to WordCamp US, and I have my particular reasons. But I kind of wanted to go through those with all of you and see kind of what's your reasons for going or not going, and how are you approaching this, and how are you telling other people about it? What about you, Jason? Where are you at in this? I know you're in Vermont, right?
Yeah, so I'm in Vermont. I'm about a 6.5 hour drive to Philly.
Okay.
I did attend last year, and last year was sort of, I think, was kind of a big coming out for me to actually get to WordCamps. I mean, living here, there's not a lot of WordCamps around here. There is Montreal, which is wonderful, and there's Boston, which is as well. But I think I might as well call it my first WordCamp. I've been working with WordPress for 12 years.
Wow.
And
And you finally looked outside and was like, what? People are getting together doing something? I need to go to one of these things.
US was your first WordCamp?
What's that?
Last year's US was your first WordCamp?
Yeah, I tried going to New York in like 2000 and I don't remember, way back, doing it at the New York City, and it wasn't for me. I sort of I told Bridget I bailed and went to a punk show or something.
So, but for you, Jason, is that you don't go to local meetups, or do you?
No, I don't. I mean,
Okay.
My life's really busy.
Yeah.
I mean, as a developer and founder of a startup, and 2 small kids and a farm, and a couple of businesses kicking around, I've just had a really busy life, and so I initially saw the value. Well, we can talk about value and stuff later. I'll stop there. That'll be the good intro.
What about you, Adam? What's your WordCamps that you've gone to and that sort of thing?
So it's funny, I mean, I don't mean to make fun of you at all, Jason. I mean, it's from my perspective, it's like, wow, you run this, focused business. I would think from that perspective, you would have gone sooner. Makes sense though.
Yeah.
last year attended 9 camps, including US. I am going this year to US. I just decided about 48 hours ago.
Wow.
I'm 99% sure I'm going. I mean, I submitted to speak and I bought a plane ticket. So I'm in.
Wow. Okay.
Some capacity. It's confidence or stupidity, one of the two. But I guess I started WordPress work 2009. That's about right. And I didn't know anything about community until I guess my first WordCamp OC. Hey Jason, what shirt do you have on? Is that the one I'm thinking of? No, not the one before that, Jason. OC is the first camp I ever went to.
Okay.
And I've been at like 1 or 2. I did 2 that year, then like 4, then 8. Now I'm doing again like 8 or 9 last year and 8 this year. I love them. I mean, for different reasons. But I am going to be at US. Well, if things don't change with some other familial responsibilities, we'll see what happens there. But I'm busy also. I have 3 kids and that I know about, and
I know.
we'll see. But no farm. I mean, there's no farm here. It's LA. So.
We don't even have water in LA, so we can grow anything if we wanted to.
So I did everything backwards. I went to WordCamp first. Before I did anything in WordPress, I was just using WordPress.com since 2007. I went to WordCamp in 2013. Did my first build in April of 2015, which I discovered 2 days ago. Went back to the CSS POS that I built before that. And I was sad. I felt like somebody died. That was a sad, sad, sad thing. And so that's why I don't want to build websites, but now I'm working for plugin shops. There you go.
And now they tell you where to go. Are you going to be going to this or not? You're going to this. You're going. Okay.
We applied to speak. We all applied to speak at WordCamp US.
Well, for me, I used to run a WordPress web development company full time. That was my full time gig, was doing that. I still do WordPress web development on the side, but I work at a church and I kind of manage all their stuff, including a WordPress website, multi-site, all the subsites that are on that, and all that sort of thing. So I see value in going to WordCamps, but and I attend meetups and I do all those sorts of things, but. For me, the cost of driving out there, especially since I work for a nonprofit and we rely on people giving and stuff, I couldn't see myself justifying with their money to fly all the way out to Philly to go do a WordCamp. Now, San Francisco, easy enough, $100 or whatever, and you get dropped off up there, and then you spend a couple bucks getting to the location, and you're good to go. So. For me, it's just, it's difficult to do when it's something that's so far away.
So, based on where we are on the West Coast, we don't have as many close. Like I know my buddy Kyle in Michigan, he can go to about 15 within a 2-hour drive.
Really?
Whereas, I think so, because where he lives, he has, we counted them out.
In Ann Arbor, you can go to 15.
Ann Arbor, Cincinnati, Dayton, there's Columbus, there's so many within his area.
Wow, that's surprising.
Whereas where we have LA, Orange County, San Diego, that's it. Vegas.
Phoenix and Vegas, they're closer
to Sacramento. Those are on the fringe of an 8-hour drive.
But we make up with it by having 15 different meetups that we could go to
every night of the week.
We have so many meetups here in Southern California that the reason why I was asking you, Jason, regarding you going to meetups or not, is that for me, when I go to a WordCamp, I'm going knowing that I'm probably going to know at least one person. I'm hoping at least one person. Mm-hmm. Now, I haven't gone to Ann Arbor or some WordCamp that I don't even know where those places are. So it's like for me, it's like just thinking, well, because I'm not a traveler or anything like that. So for me, it's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to know anybody there or not, and not that matters. I mean,
it's terrifying. Of course, it matters.
No, it doesn't matter to me. Come on, I do this.
I know you're good at that, but like meeting people.
Like me, I hate meeting new people.
I hate it.
Yes, I love it.
He's making fun of me, but I am seriously terrified every single time. Even though I keep picking up people, like the more WordCamps I go to, I'm like, oh, I do know like 10 people here. Okay.
So I've been going I've been going to WordCamps for a long time now, and all these different WordCamps, the ones that are in Orange County, the one that's in LA, San Diego. I went out to Miami and did that one. I've been to Vegas and Phoenix. So I've been to all the ones that are in our area, but including Miami. But that's it. I flew all the way around the other direction. It's okay. It's okay. Geography's hard, So what I'm saying is I've gotten to enough of these now that I can kind of gauge, is this going to be something that I should go to, and am I going to be either going there to look at or to be involved in the different talks that are happening there, or am I going there for a hallway track where I'm just going to sit around and talk to folks and do that sort of thing? So I'm sorry, Jason, I totally cut you off. What were you gonna say?
Right. Oh no, it's fine. Well, I was gonna throw in a caveat that the nearest meetup is an hour and a half away.
Wow.
To where I am, and it's only once a month, or maybe every 2 months now.
What
It's in
city,
Burlington.
Jason? What city are you in?
I just moved a little bit south. I'm in Heartland, Vermont, which is like right near White River Junction.
Close to where is that in
So
relation
like
to
a
Burlington?
third. It's about an hour and a half south of Burlington.
Okay, I've been there. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's where the nearest
Yeah,
the nearest
right there.
meetup is.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's I mean I see the value in it. I think I'm not a traveler, and when I did go to US last year, it was fantastic. It was a really good couple of days.
I thought it was a little too small.
I thought it was
Dude, that place looked like Comic-Con. That's all I'm saying. Looking at all the stuff that was going on there.
It
Dragon
sounds
Con
Okay,
like-
can I tell you?
whatever like that.
Someone asked me after US. We know it's going to be Philly last year, Philly this year. And someone said, "You're going to submit for Los Angeles." And I didn't even pause. I'm like, no. There was no beat. No, I'm good. I don't think we could sustain it. Yeah, but no, I'm good.
The traffic. So Jason,
Anyway.
how do you say your last name? Postmatic Jason.
you could say Lemieux.
Okay, because you said it different than I go. I've been saying it wrong all these years
Fine.
that I've known you.
Fine.
All these months that I've known you.
All
Anyway,
these months.
so for me, because of traffic, I have to leave an hour and a half to get to one that's 25 miles away.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It's a pain. It means that I leave at 4:30. I come home at 11 o'clock at night, and I'm not even
This
going
was
to the
my-
party.
This was a New Year's resolution for me, was to like get out of Vermont a little bit this year. I did it twice. I got out twice.
Hey, that's a successfully completed goal.
That's a good first step. It's so nice here, though. Why would you leave?
Oh man.
So not
So-
having local community, I could see that being something that that makes it a little harder. But not having local community also makes it something that you really want to go to one of these local, WordCamps, especially something like, it's crazy that you went to your first one, which is, WordCamp
big
US, right?
At the time.
So now at this point, you go to one that's in some little dinky town, and you're gonna be like, well, where's the other 500 people or 1,000 people or 2,000 people?
I don't know.
So it's gonna be tough. So
Yeah, because
it's gonna be more traveling. Is what I'm saying.
our home
So-
camp was 300. That's it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. So are you going to US again this year? You said yes or no? I forgot.
Yeah, definitely. I'm
Are you?
gonna do the best that I-
Would you? But that's it. Just the one for the year, just US in general, because it's only a 6-hour drive. Or would you go to US? Let's say if it was in Texas.
Would I go to US if it was in Texas? I would not go if it was in Texas. No.
Nebraska.
So there's something wrong with Texas. Apparently, it's okay.
If it involves the much increased budget of airfare, I probably would not go to US. I am very interested in going to any WordCamp that is within 7-hour driving radius right
Okay.
now. I only didn't do Boston and Montreal because they both fell on very unfortunate dates. One was
Yeah.
my birthday, and one was
Your birthday's on an unfortunate day. Trust me.
yeah, it is. And so I had plans to go to those two. I was excited. I was amped after US, and I was like, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
from a business point of view,
Right.
it's
Let me
clearly
ask this-
important, right?
Hey, Tucker, let me ask you a quick question though. What do you think about the whole aspect of it's called WordCamp US, whereas Morton suggested it should be called WordCamp North America, include Canada and Mexico, because they have WordCamp Europe. Just throw that out there.
So I guess the way that I would approach that is living in the U.S. and having such a large,
Geographical region.
Yeah, geographical region that
Crazy.
all, for the most part, speaks the same language. it makes it really easy for us to just say, well, okay,
I mean, we
Here's
love
this.
our
Now-
Canadians.
right,
Not that
but
we don't love
you
them.
go to
people
you go half
in
of-
Mexico as well.
but if you go to half of Canada, they're speaking French. If you go down to Mexico, then they're speaking Spanish. If you go further down, they're speaking Portuguese. So
Right.
it starts getting so you have a lot of
Well,
stuff
you
that's
can say
going
North America. You don't have to say South America. I mean, let's draw a line somewhere, build a wall. No, just kidding.
Oh, jeez. That happened. So, but that's
So
the thing.
Panama and up, right? Is that
Right.
what we're saying? Panama and
Yeah,
up.
but
Okay.
Europe is so small in comparison to us. Like, and that's a real problem. Like, so.
Yeah, but there's like
So if you
500
fly
languages
to
going on over
Philadelphia from LA, what is that plane ticket?
268
Right, I was going to say about $300. Then where are you going to stay?
in a van down by the river.
So that's $150 a night for 2 or 3 nights.
No,
You
not
haven't
even that much.
eaten. You haven't eaten and you spent $700.
Airbnb, and it cost me about $60 a night
Wow.
because I'll stay with 5 other people, so 6 of us in the
Okay.
house.
So as a girl, I wouldn't do that. So $700.
How do you know what how do you know what I identify as?
Oh, jeez. You know what? In 7 days, you're getting a punch in the nose.
Sweet.
Right in the kisser. Right in the kisser.
So where are we at price wise here at this point?
That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
it's-
It's like $700.
700, yeah, probably.
Right.
You get some tacos
That's a
in there.
fair estimate.
Well, I can tell you what I spent. I mean, last year. I mean, I went. I mean, my flight was twice as much last year for some odd reason, and I could have saved $60 by flying United this time, but I decided to do Southwest. Long story. But yeah, the flight. I mean, flights. Let's say 300, even at $60 a night. I'm going
That's
4
taxes.
nights. I don't pay taxes.
You got to eat too.
I'm like Trump. I don't pay taxes. I'm huge, and yeah, it's probably $750. But yeah, you're right. It's up there.
So I was telling my wife what we were going to be talking about tonight, and she goes, "Well, what's the problem? If it's just money to fly there, money to stay there, money to eat there, and money to fly back home, plus the $40 to go to the WordCamp or whatever it is."
That's the
Then
cheapest part
she's
of the
like-
whole thing.
She's like, that sounds like you just write a lot of that off
You do.
because it's travel, it's food, it's this and that. She goes, and then hopefully you'll end up getting some kind of business out of it. You'll either partner up with somebody on a project or just be able to shake a couple people's hands. So now
Or
that they know
lady.
that you exist or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So for her, she was just looking at it saying like, the value isn't just money. There's
Right.
tons of other value that's
Totally.
involved too. But if you're a wallflower and you just don't want to talk to anybody
Then it's
and
don't
you
go.
just kind of
I mean,
really,
it was
I
a
mean,
concept
yeah.
last year. You guys know last year I did the 9 camps in Cabo Press, and it was a decision my wife and I made together as an investment.
Yeah.
In a year later, I'm leaving a day job,
Yeah.
going back to freelance or my own small agency, if you will, and doing my thing. And it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't invested that time over the past since 2011, 2012, going to camps. You can't just
Right.
do that.
So
to
you went
quit
to
a
the
job, to
camp,
quit a job and start from brand new.
they convinced you to leave the security of a job.
Word camps, no. Relationships, yes.
you need new friends, my friend.
WordCamp, because we want you to quit your job. Wink.
Freelancing is great.
No, I mean, to me, I saw the pictures. I was like, I am glad I'm watching this on my computer.
Yeah.
That many people, I start getting panic attacks. So it should be fun if I actually go. Look for the person who's got like a bright orange tag that says, I'm lost. Return me to Matt Cromwell at mattcromwell.com.
Well, you know what? I can tell you honestly, as outgoing as people, and I include myself in this, appear in one aspect. I walk into that speaker-sponsored dinner, and there's that moment of like, really? Me? Here? Yeah. So it happens to everybody. So,
So that money of flying out there to just hang out on Twitter, Bridget, just isn't for you, right?
No, I mean, I'm getting better because this was my
Right.
resolution too, Jason. So, because I made myself start going I go, if I don't start doing this, people are going to stop inviting me. That's what I
Yeah,
started thinking.
know.
I go, I
I have
gotta start. I have to get outside of this screen cave
Yep.
that I feel super comfortable in now. And so, so now I go to these ones, but then I got asked to go to Cincinnati. So we'll see about US. I don't know if we're all going or.
Cincinnati is the same time as Ann Arbor, isn't it? Same weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be in Michigan.
I will be speaking on how WordPress allows you to be a self-made woman.
Huh. It's funny because I'll be speaking on the same thing.
This is not that serious. Anyway.
So let's all
Let's
play
talk
devil's
about the
advocate.
experience, though. Did we talk
Right.
about the experience? We talked about the expense, $750, and you didn't
Right.
take anybody out to dinner or be nice to people or anything. So
But just,
$700 to $1,000.
a lot of money, a lot of food is covered. But you have your lunch covered, and a lot of after party dinner stuff. Food's covered. You may pay for a breakfast dinner, but honestly, food was was my second cheapest line item last year. Ticket
Oh,
was
really?
$40, and food I maybe spent.
Water and saltines for you.
No, I mean no water, just the saltines. No, I just sucked on a cacti.
Give me that candy.
No, I think honestly maybe $50 for food tops.
Wow,
because
that's amazing.
you get invited to events and stuff, and there's food there.
Oh, yeah.
And, and not to say that I couldn't cover my own food. I don't expect the people to pay, but
Yeah.
I mean, heck, WordImpress.
Yeah, we had
you
a
guys
dinner
bought-
last year.
Right, they bought me dinner.
Gifted.
I still have leftovers.
I saw leftovers. Throw those out. When in doubt, throw it out.
I'm very frugal. Grandma raised me good.
So Jason, what's the attractiveness of WordCamp US or just a WordCamp in general for you? Like, what's that thing that you need, you're going to get out of it by going to it? And
Well, here's what I think that in my position, there's two potential roles I could play at a WordCamp. At US, I liked it because there were so many people and so many opportunities, and it became a really efficient way to meet a whole lot of people that I probably ought to know in 2 days and make a lot of contacts and get a lot of business drummed up. And so from the business side, the just sheer size of US was a ton of value. Smaller WordCamps, not that I've been to one, but I'm looking forward to going to
Well,
one.
you're to
for the sake-
Pressnomics. It's basically a WordCamp 2.0, right?
Well, kind of. I mean, but
More
Pressnomics is
business
very business focused, and what I was looking forward to Boston for was to be able to have it be an opportunity to give back. So to actually go in a capacity of, okay, well, I'm not fancy enough to speak at US, but I'm fancy enough to speak at Boston, and
or Boston, jeez.
You just have to say wicked awesome and you're in.
yeah, pretty much, and it would be a smaller crowd that I would feel more comfortable maybe like taking off my business hat and putting on my community hat and engaging in that way. And so I'm looking forward to that with some smaller New England-based WordCamps maybe this year. I could see that. The one thing I had the most fun doing at US last year, though, which I think maybe is a bit more of an opportunity, I was going to ask you than at the average smaller WordCamp, was hanging out and working at the Genius Bar. That was wicked fun. Just like random WordPress newbie people coming over and you're like, how do I change my header color? So you're just a genius. You're like, look, it's a button.
I thought I asked you not to share that. Now I'm just embarrassed.
Yeah. So I don't know if that happens quite as much at that smaller regional ones, but at US it was fun. You could sit there all day. There was a line of people who wanted to know how to change their header bar. It was fun.
They have happiness.
It was like some
happiness
good
bars,
ego
right?
stroking
Yeah.
or happiness or whatever.
Yep. We have one. We have them.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was cool. I like that a lot.
Hmm.
Who went to US last year? Jason was there.
I watched it on TV.
Adam was there and you watched it.
And I
Is
got
this
the
all
shirt.
lined
I
up?
did not go. No,
Oh,
they're
you
all
did
mixed
go.
up.
They are mixed up. Darn it.
I watched it on TV and tweeted. I was there. I just wasn't there.
You tweeted. So
I retweeted whatever she tweeted. That was about it.
Tweeting and
So Adam,
watching.
did-
I saw Morton Stang on the Get Up science fiction gravity cartoon. That was
His was
awesome.
awesome. Yeah,
I had
great talk.
Josepha Hayden's talk about empathy,
Joseph-
and
Joseph was awesome.
yeah, I got to meet her in person.
So Adam, did you find that US was a bit more business focused than the smaller regionals?
I think US was just so big.
It could be
You know,
anything.
you know, to scale, because you've only been to that one. So I've been to so many that looking at it from a perspective of like, oh my gosh, there are 1,600 people here. That was an interesting, you know, aspect in its own right. Just the scale of it. As far as the talks go, you know, and you know, the overall feel, yeah, I don't know if it was more business. I think so. I think it was just there's a wider range of talks, obviously, because you have the scale of having these rooms that need to be filled. You know, the flash talks, the longer formats. But again, you know, I am as a lead in Los Angeles in like a week and a day. I feel that some people, the higher level people, here's my take on it. You go to enough camps, you get to local camps, you get to know the local community. And typical the speakers were, you know, it's similar people. A lot of people don't want to be public speakers. I understand it. I accept that. I don't understand it, but that's just me. So that said, you get a lot of the same people speaking, and eventually you'll hear the same talk. So, you know, I may hear Jason's talk again, or whatever it may be. So where was I going with this? Oh yeah, eventually the hallway track becomes more valuable.
Yeah,
because you do meet new people. I mean, you know, I look forward to meeting you at US. You know, I mean, I look forward to, you know, just because, and then you forget, oh, I meet somebody new. I met the guy from what's it called? He has the membership site. I can't think of his name all of a sudden. I'll think of it in a second. But then we were talking for a second, and I was see if I get him on my show. And like, oh, I want to go listen to something about CLI, and I was late to that. You know, so. In any case, in answer to your question, more business focused, I don't know. I wasn't looking for the business angle of it, of those talks. I was looking for meeting and expanding my own network of friends and, you know, that kind of thing for this camp, for that camp. This year may be different because I'll be independent again completely. I won't have a day job to rely on to say, oh, you know, I don't have to go hustle for a new client. So there's a difference in my everything changes tomorrow, literally.
Well,
that makes sense?
You guys had and so did Europe, but you guys had the state of the word and the question and answer section, which nobody else gets that except for Europe. Right. So that's a whole nother level of value.
Right.
So
yeah, I'm just thinking back to business aspect. Yeah, I didn't go for that aspect.
I wasn't talking about actually the content of the talks. I was more talking about, because I think I only went to like
the
3.
shaking hands part.
I was just in the hallway the whole time.
Well, for sure, absolutely. Well, then the answer is for sure, because the hallway was packed. The hallway and the vendor area were always packed. So yes, and to answer your question with that, absolutely. That's where I spent a chunk of time also. Yeah. And I probably went to, out of all the talks, I probably went to, I can probably count 6 or 7. Yeah. The ones that I looked at that I really wanted to learn something. And one I saw again in Chicago because I was late, half hour late. So I saw, he's from 10 Up. It's Chris Wigman. He did the same talk. I'm like, hey, Chris, is it the same talk in Chicago that you did in the US? He's like, yes. I'm like, good. I'll be here for the first half. I saw the second half at US.
After they take roll, you'll leave.
Right. I got credit. So yeah, but you're right. As far as that goes, because typically smaller camps, people go to the sessions more, especially the new people. Yeah. New people don't know. Right. New people they want to take it all in. It's overwhelming. I've talked at length at this on my podcast and stuff, but eventually you won't go to especially if they're being recorded, you may go to less talks and do more talking with people for sure.
Plus it doesn't always seem natural when you come out of a class.
Right.
Then it's more like, oh my gosh, I totally didn't think about doing those Google Analytics. Then you have this big long conversation. Right. It's more natural that way instead of like, hey, my name's Bridget. I work for Well, so now I work at the booth.
Right. See, and also for $40, people are much more forgiving on not hitting a session and then spending more time talking. For $1,000 ticket, because I used to go to stuff. I used to do some training for Apple. I used to go to conferences that way when I was doing support like Jason does. For those things, you want your money's worth. You have to go to those sessions because your job depends on it.
Yeah, like social media world is like a mortgage payment.
Right, for $40 on the weekend, you're like, okay, I can give her, I can go take this. It doesn't, it's much easier to forgive yourself.
Right.
So what about the people? I mean, we've talked about the business cost. We've talked about the time costs. What about the people like you're just talking about? Those folks that are going because to up their game on their cat blog, to make sure that they're getting 4 comments and they're like, should I get Postmatic or not? Like
Yes.
those types of things.
I love Postmatic.
You know what I mean? Though, like what about those people? Like, what, are they going to go and fly from wherever to, WordCamp US because it is the Super Bowl of WordCamps, and they're like, oh, I have to go to this one, or are they going to go to just their local one and totally be happy with it? And are they like Jason, where they're stuck in some place where they don't have a local one? You should totally start a local one in Vermont.
He's busy.
By the way,
He has a farm.
you have a farm. Just put chairs out. You're good to go.
You could have it here.
First session, milk the goats.
There would be like 5 people. I could easily host it in my kitchen.
See? Perfect. Make it happen.
So Tucker, I think in answer to your question, I think it depends on what your goals are, to how much you want to invest in in the community, if you will. I am confident, and I'm sure there are dozens of agencies that we've never heard of who do huge numbers, like 10 up, crowd favorite, all these, Ally, all these numbers. They probably do, and more so, who we've never heard of, who are not part of the community, because they use WordPress as their business, and that's it. They're not interested in that whole other aspect of it, and that's fine. It's a business to them. They use this right now. Like Steve, Zane could even said, wait, right now he uses WordPress. Who knows what we'll use in 10 years?
Yep.
But that's to be said. But he likes the community aspect. He likes to be involved because it's helped his business. It gives you credibility. I'm the same way. People give me passwords all the time because I'm in the community. Because if I screw them over, it does not do me any good. I don't want their passwords anymore. If I create a new account, here's a video how to create me a new account. I'll create my own password. I've had to do that 25 times this year alone because I don't want people's passwords anymore. I don't want that responsibility of the one password that they may use for the banking.
Russ would say that should be a T-shirt.
But I think it just depends on what your goals are with your for your business. If your goal is to get more business, if it's a Postmatic issue that you want to expand the reach and sponsor, a camp or a meetup or whatever, there's that aspect. If you're trying to just shake hands, and I can also tell you this: meetups versus WordCamps, meetups are definitely business to it's people to people. You're not business to business. It takes time to build that trust.
Yeah.
And to get that. WordCamps a little easier. It's business to people. It's business B2C, business to consumer. If you're a sponsor, right? I
don't know if I agree with that.
Well, you're a business. WordPress is a business, and you're going to a consumer.
But we're going to another business person, first of
Well,
all, and it's still the relationship between the actual people.
It depends on the attendees.
But you make plugins that other businesses would use for their clients.
Right.
That's
so
the thing.
That's B2B. It's not retail.
Right. But see, in the WordPress community, it takes longer. It's not going. If you come into my
it is retail though. No.
It's not because it's not.
It totally
I'm not selling you
is.
an ice cream cone, and you have to keep.
You are
it.
because if I have a cat blog and I have this cat website thing, and I want to make sure people are going to show up to it, I'm going to go and install the Yelp plugin and have it so people will show up to the thing. But I won't know about it until you go up on stage and say, hey, I make this thing that makes Yelp show up on my website. And you're like, oh, that's the best thing ever.
Right, but
Tons
you
of
can't
people bring their
pitch from
cats
the
to my
stage.
site.
Right.
What? Yes, you can. You totally can. You walk around and just start shaking hands.
Let me clarify how I want to say this. At a meetup.
To your corners. I'm just saying, so I approach the marketing, my part of it anyway, as business to business and relationship marketing. And to me, I think that matters. You like somebody, therefore you like their product.
Yeah, see, I don't
view it the same as a widget.
Like, for instance, what we're doing here, let's just say, like, for what we're doing here right now, I'm not thinking that a developer is going to watch this, like a developer, maybe this particular episode, but I don't think that, like, if we were to have Jason come on and talk about his product, we're talking about the product that someone else is going to end up using.
Not him building it and how he built it, or the
B2B, B2C is it's mixed because
it's really hard to nail down in WordPress.
It just depends on who's in the room,
Okay.
Like if Jesse's going to go speak, he's going to stand in the middle of the room and say, or stand in the front of the room and say, hey, how many of you guys have comments turned off on your blog? And they're like, oh, how many of them have them turned off because you get a lot of spam? And then everybody does it. He goes, I fix that. Here you go.
That was a lightning talk.
That's it.
Right.
Boom, done.
That's 2 years of my life.
Right. But
Yeah.
something like that, now what happens is Jason's not going to go home and have like, somebody show up and say, hey, I want to buy 10,000 copies of your plugin. He's going to get a couple here, a couple there, a couple here, a couple there. Maybe somebody shows up and says, dude, I really want to use this on 8 of my clients' websites. Okay, he sells 8 of them.
You have to, I look at the
So you're
WordPress
making my point.
No, it's a mix. It's both.
It's a mix.
It's a mix.
It's you have to be in it. Here's the thing. I'm a firm believer. People do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Yes.
And you have to be in for it's the long game.
Yes.
It's simple. Simple as that. You can't come in. Case in point, I had somebody come into my meetup 2 or 3 years ago after I started it, and first thing they said was, "Hey, can I be on your podcast?" I don't know who this person was. I didn't know what, and they were trying to. All they wanted to be is they wanted to shill on my show. They wanted to talk about their products, and
It doesn't
I get asked
work
all
with
the
us.
time.
Let's
I've
stay
only
here,
made
dude.
I've only made one exception where someone asked me, and I made I broke my rule once because I knew who it was. I respected who it was, and we talked about. He works for Automatic. He's on water cooler. What's his name? Big George. Has chihuahuas.
George?
No, not George.
From Bakersfield, WP Engine guy. Stefan.
maybe it's- yeah.
The
Yeah.
beard with chihuahuas.
Yeah. Jason
Yeah,
Cosper.
it's WP Engine. Yes. Cosper, right. So, but he's like, hey, Adam, I don't know if you know who I am. And I knew who he was. So I went ahead and said, yes, of course, you can come on my show. I love that. But when people
Automatic
ask me all this
WP
stuff-
Engine, it's the same.
whatever.
Wait,
But
what
when
was,
people,
what was he pushing?
nothing really, just talking about,
Oh, okay.
I mean, it wasn't like he was pushing, but I just, it's, I have friends at all the different hosts, and that's always a tough place to be,
Right.
Oh man.
But in my case, I get asked all the time. I say no because I need to know who you are first, because I respect my audience. I don't want to just
Right. It's the relationship building part of
Right.
business to business marketing that's normally done. If that's how it all works
But that
in
can't be
WordPress.
the only thing.
But that's the
You-
way
like,
it
if
works
you-
in WordPress.
I don't
Can I
agree.
get your loyalty from a coupon? Like I can
That's
with
how
a
it
bagel
works
shop?
for B2B in WordPress, but it's not
Right.
how it works to B2C.
So,
You can't
so
scale
gr-
that to B2C.
yeah, somebody who has a website who gets a whole bunch of comments is going to go on to the, onto the plugin repo. They're going to go on the repo and they're going to look to see what's available, and they're going to type in searching for comment plugins. Hopefully Jason shows up, and then they download it and they're like, oh, you can buy the service for it. And now
Okay.
now that has converted from a free
Fair
product
enough.
to
Fair enough, as Russ would say. Fair enough. I'm just saying. I think
it's
when you're going to WordCamps, in that environment of a WordCamp, if you approach it as building a relationship, you're going to see more success.
absolutely.
We can agree on this,
and-
right?
And here's the thing. Be as helpful as you can be. It'll come back tenfold. That's the thing. I want to help other people. I don't want to sell right away. I mean, my goal. I know this for a fact. 4 or 5 years ago, I was desperate for work, and desperation reeks. It just does. When you're like, oh, I'm looking for this. I don't know. What do you do? Everything. What do you need? I need support. I do support. No, I blog. I write. I podcast. 4 or 5 years later, it becomes niching down, but people get to know you and that kind of thing. I know. I see it all the time. When people are desperate for work, they're just like they hard sell themselves, whatever they do.
And it
You
looks
can't
bad.
hard sell. It looks bad.
Yep.
You can hard sell B2B all day long. Knock, 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 no. Knock, 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 no. 100 no's, 1 yes. But in the community, it just takes time, plain and simple, in my opinion.
No, I agree with that.
Okay, I'm done. Rant over. Okay.
So how does this play into WordCamps then? So is this about the hallway track, or is this about being more of a presenter or speaker?
It's all of it.
Volunteer?
It's that full experience. If you're a
In my
speaker, you're going to have more street cred immediately, especially at the national camp.
It's taking those circles that was the Venn diagram, the areas that you want to specialize in, and where that in the middle is
Making
what.
that
So my case, I mean, I know why I go. I know what my goals are, my long-term goals. And part of that is speaking and presenting and training and educating. And ideally entertaining. I do all that hopefully with some entertainment. So, that's just my style. And that's why I love doing it. I love sharing and teaching. Best, and that's why I do it. Plain and simple.
I love
and,
heckling.
I'm all about the hallway track.
Yeah.
Totally. No, I've gone to WordCamps where I haven't even looked at a single session. I walked in, I said hi to somebody, it turned into an hour-long conversation.
Right.
Then something else happened, another hour-long
Time for
conversation.
lunch.
And then it's lunchtime, and then you're like, who's speaking next? And you look, you're like, I've seen that talk already. And then you're like, okay. And then you go to the next one, and you go to the next one. And then at the end of it, you're like, when's the after party? And you're like, oh, after the session's over in 15 minutes. And you're like, cool. And then you go home, and you've just made all these relationships with them.
Yeah.
So there isn't a bad way to do WordCamp. Like you can go about it any way you want.
Right.
If you want to just be a volunteer and run around and make sure microphones are turned on in the rooms and turning on cameras, doing whatever it is, there's always something that you can do at a WordCamp and get involved in it, which also adds credibility to it, because then you're getting people looking at you going, wow, this guy's so selfless that he's allowing himself to, he's just taking up his time, just running around fixing everybody's stuff, or you're just sitting there at the at the knowledge bar or whatever they call it nowadays,
Happiness.
and just happiness bar, and just kind of sit there and answer questions and stuff. So I don't think you can do it wrong other than just not show up.
Yeah, I mean, let me add to that. Because of that, and that Tucker loves the hallway track. When I first started going to camps, I'd go to the sessions. I was wanting to learn and take it in, and as time's gone on, I've changed. Right. I've also realized that WordCamps, I still think most WordCamps lean towards the beginner. A lot of people always come in, right? And then as we get older and we get more experience, we kind of do more hallway. So the beginners go to the tracks. So the developers get gypped on talks. You can't do a deep dive in 35, 40 minutes, plain and simple.
We've seen it. You don't want to have like terminal window up on the screen and somebody's talking about all the different options in WP CLI. It's not going to happen.
And we get feedback from camps and all this stuff. When I was a co-organizer last year, they spoke too fast. There was this. I didn't really learn a whole lot. I'm thinking, it's $40. Okay, so with that said, this year at WordCamp LA, I'm going to pitch it right now. I went ahead and I've organized a developer workshop track. 3 talks. I invited the speakers, Andrew Norcross, Nathan Tyler, and Ben Cool, and 90 minutes each. So that way the developers, they can learn something that they want to learn. And they're going to be some good talks.
You can totally read the entire man page in 90 minutes. So that's going to be pretty awesome then.
Sweet. No idea what that means.
Oh, come on.
That's why I just smile when I don't know what anybody's talking about.
So, but camps still, because of the time frame, that the constraint of 35, 40 minutes plus Q&A, it's hard to dive deep. And I know that people, once you get to a certain level, I want to know more. I want to know about CLI. I want to know more about whatever it may be, something business or workflow, but it's hard. So anyway, when our camps have certain tracks, your best bet, if you know who you are, where you are in your journey, sit in that track. Don't move around. Also my advice. I mean, I did that in San Diego last year. I sat in the business track the whole time. Even though I knew every speaker, I learned so much.
Yeah. I think you should do what you don't know. And at Orange County, I was kind of mad at myself for going to classes I knew. Like, okay, I need to go to more intermediate stuff and be confused again.
But you feel smarter when you go to the ones that you already know, because
like,
you're sitting there and you get that reassurance.
Woo!
You're like, oh, I totally know how to do that. Like, all you do is you push the little thing, and then the little lights show up in Yoast, and you're like, oh, I got greens. Awesome, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
What's
So,
Yoast?
yeah, no, I get that. And so it's like, you want to, you definitely want to look at it from.
Don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yes, there's one aspect. That's one way to look at it. Or further your knowledge and take it to the next level of something you do need to know.
Right.
I mean, because of Steve Zanget, I'll give him props all day long. I charge for discovery.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you a 5-10 minute phone call, Skype, something. But if I have to go meet with you, I gotta charge you for my time.
Yeah.
Simple. And then people like, what am I? And the first time I did it, WordCamp San Diego last year, I came back within a week. I had met with somebody at a coffee shop Friday night, 90 minutes. And I told her up front, I was busy. I'll be back. We can meet. Okay, great. How do you take payment? Cash, check, or charge? Whatever. Here's my rate. And 90 minutes later, she writes me a check. And I could see her sense like, what did I just pay for? And I told her, I said, just so you know, I'm going to take what you gave me. I'm going to go type it up. I'm going to give you my suggestions, and you can go and shop it around, and I, on the drive back to my house, which was a mile away, I was like second guessing myself. Do I give her $30 credit if she signs with me? Do I not? And everyone's like, I called 2 people. Like, don't, just, you did fine. I'm like, okay. And it turned out that she decided to keep it in-house, do it herself. Ironically enough, the discovery, is a term we use. Her husband's a lawyer. She thinks, she's like, well, I don't understand this discovery word. I'm like, really?
Oh yeah.
Weird. I thought it was
Well,
odd.
you have
Anyway,
to use the words that they know. That's
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I got that. So you have to pick what's appropriate for you at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you go to something that you totally know and you just want to be like the guy who says, oh, change, it's a CSS code. It's this. It's ampersand. Yeah. Don't be that guy.
And if you're a designer, go to a developer one. And if you're a developer, go to a designer one. Because I know that developers don't know how to design, except for like Devin. That's like the one person I know that's a developer who also can design. But like developers can't design, and designers maybe can develop. I don't know. But
and the
going
marketers
into
should
those
go to
rooms-
developers, and the developers should go to marketers.
Heck
Because
yeah, so
we
you
don't
can
have
at least
enough
learn the
empathy
language.
for each other.
Yep. Know the language. And the only way you're gonna know it is to listen to it for half an hour, 4 or 5 minutes.
Robust. I actually thought about going to the developer meetup just to get more exposure to the vocabulary. Not because I'm going to do anything.
Yeah. All right. What else you got, Tucker?
What else we got?
I've been up since 2:30 a.m. Pacific. What else you got? I'm going. Let's go. Yeah, I don't sleep much.
Clearly, you've never watched the show or been on it.
Not on Fire Talk. I've been on the other one.
What were you thinking, Bridget?
Well, I mean, I kind of talked about it a little bit, but I just think that the national camp does have more prestige. And I think that I don't want to overspeak for our company, but I'm pretty sure we're thinking as a plugin shop, we should be there. Because that's 3,000 of our potential and or current customers. That's our target demographic.
Are you thinking about boothing this year?
Oh no. That is so expensive. Do you see the prices? But I can wear my Give t-shirt.
But Give would have to like
100,000, 75,000, 50,000, 25,000. Those were the sponsorship levels. That's too spendy for us.
Yeah.
But if you're there,
I'll pay for it for you guys. I'll do it.
Just bring a table and a chair.
Just bring it.
Right. How they gonna
just set
stop
up
you
a
on the
Give
outside?
page, give.com/give, and just throw a bunch of money in there, and then we'll make it happen.
Send Give WP to WordCamp US. Donate today. No, but because those are your people, and because of the hallway track, and because of meeting people that are speaking that you never knew about. I mean, I was invited to speak at Cincinnati. Like I said, she didn't know what Give was. She does work with nonprofits. So they found, for some reason, she found me. I don't even know how she found me.
She Googled for the word robust, and you guys came up, and she's like, perfect.
I know, it's ridiculous. But you think that because, for us, we're in this sort of Bible Belt of WordCamps, but clearly Ann Arbor has a bigger radius.
Apparently, I didn't even know.
For me, I'm literally 65 miles radius of 3 WordCamps. So I can just go, spring, summer, and fall and be done. And then I went to 3 WordCamps every single year without having to pay for a hotel anywhere. So, so I think that we think because people know us here, that means people know us everywhere. So that's the value of having, people. Like we have a new support guy who's in Raleigh. So he's organizing Raleigh and he's going to Orlando. So that helps with the East Coastness, there's just so, and Devin's going to Pittsburgh and speaking this year. It's but it's hard to hit all those cities if you assume everybody knows you, because people who know you within your geographical region. Doesn't mean that they know you in the world.
Well, it's funny. I remember where was I? I guess I was in Dayton last year, and I realized the reach that we have in content creation, as content creators. And sometimes I was talking in the hallway, literally after I was on a panel, I was in the hallway, and I don't wear my lanyard, my badge when I'm speaking or I'm on, when I'm on the panel. And I was talking to somebody, and somebody walks by and they turn, stopped, looked right at me, and they walk up, they go, "Are you Adam Silver?" I go, "Yeah." They go, "I recognize your voice from your podcast." Blew me away. I was like, whoa.
Yep.
So
It's weird, right?
You just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that happens to people that do the circuit and they go through all the different WordCamps and speak. And they're like, I saw you in, Winnipeg or whatever. Like, oh, really?
So you say the circuit. So, if you go back and listen to Kitchen Sink WP episode 52, there's a gentleman on my show. I interviewed a guy named Chris Lemma.
Yeah.
And, that was one of the two longest shows I've ever had, him and Morton. And I asked him about that because I'd heard at LA and Orange County and whatnot that, that there was a circuit that, how they're doing this thing, they being speakers. This is before I was a speaker, I think. No, I guess it wasn't. It was whatever. And he addressed the issue. It's like, what people don't realize is that we pay out of pocket. This $750 back to the budget.
Right.
I'm covering that.
Yep.
So it's an investment again in whatever it is we want our goals are, in the relationships, in the business building, in all of it. I don't say when I was, so Lemieux, we don't know, I used to be a photographer, and I used to do ads in Bridal Magazine. I used to do these shows, and I think, okay, it's $1,000 for this booth. I need one, and I'll pay for it. I need two, I'll make money.
Right.
I go to camps, and that would never work out, by the way. It's a terrible way to spend money on marketing. It really is. Okay. It never worked out. But so if I go to a camp thinking if I just get one website design, one client to do for concierge, I'll make the money back in 3 months. No, I don't even think about it that way. I go because I know it's in the best of my best interest to attend and spend the time in the community and do that stuff. So anyway, all right. What else?
Well, I was kind of thinking about that, where like, what was the reasoning behind me going to WordCamps, and what was it that, like, what was my end game? Am I trying to go there so that way I can get more development work from people? Am I just making myself known by speaking about different stuff? Am I just somebody that likes to share, and I just I was like, oh, it's 25 miles away, it's no big deal, I'll just go and share about the thing that I've learned or whatever. And so I spoke about how to use the dashboard. It's like, this is one of the things that you have to teach your customers who have never used WordPress.
Right.
And so
we take what we know for granted.
Right. So when I looked at that, I was like, dude, if I teach people how to use a dashboard, I'm essentially saying, like, here's what I'm going to show you, or here's the type of stuff that I could show you down the road. And I was actually told, here, I want you to talk about the dashboard. And I was like, dashboard? Why would I ever speak about the dashboard? That's crazy. And then I started showing, I started doing a little bit more research and learning more things about it. And you start uncovering these things. And then at the end of it, I was like, I was learning stuff because I was, learning how a user is going to interact with that environment. And so,
what was the first one you spoke at, Jason?
First one was LA. I think it was LA.
What year?
Probably 5 years back.
So was that the Austin time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like 5 years
Austin
back.
being Austin, Passy, not Austin, Texas.
Oh yeah. And it was the Sunday. It was on Sunday, and it was at the co-working space. There was like a big co-working space in like Santa Monica type area.
Oh yeah, across campus. I remember that one.
Yeah. So I was in this teeny little room, and I was talking about stuff, and it ended up working out pretty good. But it was that was my first talk also, I think. I spoke in there as well. Oh really? I think so. And that's made me think, it's like, this is the way that I'm going to be able to show either potential customers or people that are just going to do a Google search for, how do I use the dashboard? And then they're going to see it and go, Jason Tucker, that's the guy I need to hire because he's the one that knows all about the thing. And
so Jason Tucker, we haven't talked about FOMO.
Oh, FOMO, yeah.
Because like once you start meeting friends, like I was talking to my girlfriend the other
Define FOMO real quick.
fear of missing out. So I was talking to Jen Miller. She's like, yeah, I'm going to Phoenix. Look at all the people going. I go, I hate you. These are all my friends. I know this person and this person and this person and this person. And I'm going to be sitting there on Facebook looking at all these pictures. And I'm going to be so sad because my friends are there. So then there's this another level to it of here's 3,000 of my closest friends. I mean, I could go to my high school reunion, but I would want to go to this because that is one of the biggest values of WordPress is the community. And these are people that are so inclusive. I've had so many moments, like even at WordCamp LA last year, I was tweeting and because I was doing social media and my battery was dying. I'm like, oh no, I forgot to charge. I was so far away from a floor box. And at the same time, Roy tweeted me and said, we have the power at my booth for my laptop. And I have one in my purse at all times for my phone. And then Robert Gilmer just came over to me and took my laptop and plugged it in. I was just like, knight in shining armor, right? So because anywhere else, I wouldn't be handing over my laptop to some person I never met. Right? Like, yeah, please take my laptop and steal it, and sell it for meth. You don't do that anywhere else. You feel safe at a WordCamp.
Tucker, do you ever feel FOMO?
Yeah, I did. I didn't go to WordCamp San Francisco. It must have been like the third year that I would have went, and it's the third time I would have went, and I'm looking on Twitter and I'm just like, they're over at the place, now they're at the thing, and Toga Room, and all this stuff. I just kept getting. It wasn't even about the talks. It was about the experiences that were happening before lunch and after. That I was like, man, like that's the stuff that I should have gone to, and I really was kicking myself that I didn't go. And it's also happened at other WordCamps too, where you'll hear that. Somebody announced a very, big product or something, and you've been waiting for that product to come out, and now they've announced it at some WordCamp, and you're just like, oh, like I really wanted to see that, and they're not live streaming it, and they're not, it's like you're gonna watch the thing a while later, and you're like, darn,
Yeah, I went to the last year they had it in San Francisco. It was awesome. Yeah,
I think
that's
that was
when I met, actually. That's when I asked Matt Mullenweg to be on my podcast, and he came on as well.
Nice.
That was a huge get.
For sure.
Yeah,
but
I was dared.
They're all your favorite people, and they're collected in the same spot. I mean, maybe Philadelphia isn't my dream place to go, but what if it is in somewhere better? I don't know.
Better.
Or somewhere closer, or Vegas.
Somebody asked me last year.
Vegas.
Well, I went to the 9 camps in Cabo. Someone said, "What was the best WordCamp you've been to so far?" And it's an easy answer.
What's that?
Maui.
Right, WordCamp US in Maui.
Well,
now it's expensive.
Maui. I brought my wife. We spent a week. We had camp. A couple days. Camp. A couple days. So I'm not gonna lie. That by far was the best WordCamp.
But that would be really spendy. That's like a destination wedding. You're like,
it's just money. It's just money. We just had our anniversary a couple days ago. Another year, whatever. Just money.
It's just money.
So at the end of the day, you can't take it with you. So
that's true. That's true.
I was going to mention this. You mentioned about the community, about the FOMO aspect. And what catches me off guard in one aspect is the fact that I'll scroll through my phone and my photos. I have about 5,000 photos in here. Easily half of them. I mean, I go through. I just see months. I see groups of about 30 to 50 photos of camps.
Yep.
And 5 years ago, I'm 2009, but 2011, 12 was my first camp. I think actually the shirt you're wearing was my first camp, Jason. And I literally, it's shocking how I came into the camp community. And now, I came in, I got a free ticket to a sponsor. I'm like, I love this. I tried to meet up with Brandon and Jeff, and I was like, hey, I want to help next year. They're like, yeah, we don't know who you are. I was that guy.
Yeah.
And then I talked to Austin, and I was just like, hey, I want to help. He's like, you don't know who you are. I became a volunteer. I kind of went up the steps, and 4 years later, so 2012, 4 years later, somehow I lost the bet. I'm leaving LA. No, I mean I'm leaving. Or it's crazy. It's not hard to do a camp in one aspect. It's just a lot of minutia. It's a lot of minutia.
Okay, so the last 13 minutes. So
Yeah.
you're talking about Maui. What about WordCamp
Yeah.
Europe is going to be in Paris next year in June?
Well, actually, I'm trying to go with the family trip. We're trying to make it a family vacation, 2 weeks with camp at the beginning and then vacation at the end after that.
Nice.
And speaking of Maui, I had points. The car was free and my flight was free.
Oh,
I
that's
had
cool.
miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to Ann Arbor in a month or whatever. My flight's $11.20.
Nice.
That's awesome.
If you work it right, it works out.
No,
Yep.
that makes sense. So, I mean, I just think these bigger ones, like Ghost came and talked to the Advanced WordPress meetup down in San Diego, and I went to that. And he goes to US and he goes to Europe, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it is a bigger networking event, like Jason was asking from Postmatic. It is a better networking event because the big boys like Yoast are only going to US
Right.
and Europe. So if you want them, if you want to meet those people, that's
right.
Right.
Yeah. That's what you have to make it work for yourself. Yeah. I told my wife, because we have these passports now for the kids, I don't want them to go to waste. So if I can somehow fund it between now and next year to go to Paris, but I can't just go to a camp for the weekend and come home from Paris.
I know, because you're stuck inside all day. Like, oh look, there's Eiffel Towers. Now let's talk about WPCLI.
I did the exact same thing when I went to Miami. Well, I went to Miami and I did the exact same thing. I landed, I went to sleep, I woke up, WordCamp, went to sleep, WordCamp, and then flew home. And I was like, I didn't even see a beach. Like,
that's the thing. And so that's why. So 2 years ago, when I started doing like 4 or 5 camps that year, then last year, at the end of last year, I started going a day early and taking an extra day off of day job or coming back. I would go as I hated, because coming from the West Coast, going to the East Coast, you lose that day. I hated getting in at 11 o'clock at night, waking up, going to camp, leaving on Sunday morning, go to camp Saturday, Sunday, or Friday night thing, Saturday, Sunday, leave Sunday at 6 and get back home. You're right. I did like that aspect of it. So now, like for Philly, for US, I'm going Thursday. I get in like at 3 p.m. Eastern. I come back Monday. Is that what I don't have to leave camp and rush to the airport? I leave Monday at noon.
You could do the Rocky steps again.
Did that already. Did that last year.
So you've got to find something else to do.
Yeah.
Philly cheesesteak, and you're good. That's it, right?
I mean, what's her name? Carrie Lee shot photos of us. We actually ran from our Airbnb to the Rocky Steps and up the steps. Yeah. At 5:30 in the morning for the sunrise.
I think I saw tweets of that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I felt like I was included, so that you can follow along on Twitter, and that feels so.
Yeah. And actually, if you look at this photo here real quick, you'll see the image for that my blog post about me leaving my day job. I used the photo actually.
Oh, that's a good idea.
What do you got, Jason?
Well, so do you want to dive into the differences in expense versus value for WordCamps versus private conferences?
Yes, you've got 10 minutes, friend.
I've only been to one.
You should dive in. You should do it in Latin.
But I've only been to one each. So last year, I went to WordCamp US, and then it felt like shortly thereafter, maybe it was a few months after, I went to Pressnomics, which is a private event which is hosted by the folks at Pagely in Phoenix, and is a much more business-oriented WordPress conference. And it wasn't private in that there's private invitations, but it was hosted privately, and it was much more expensive. I forget what tickets were, $200 maybe or something. Still tons of value there, but a whole different experience. I feel like as a plugin shop owner, I certainly got a lot more business value out of attending Pressnomics than I did out of WordCamp US, but way less community value.
Interesting.
Because it was all the same. It was all business people.
But that was your peers.
Yeah, those were the peers, but there were no users, right? Very little users. I mean, sure, they're all like sort of using it, but they're not our target market, right? So it was B2B, right? And essentially, at the end of the day, we are B2C. Like, we're selling to consumers, and we're trying to make products that are easy enough for like a WordPress beginner use this as their comment system, and for them to be able to get through the installation and find value in it and eventually upgrade.
Yeah, because if you would have walked around, Jason, and said, "Hey, do you have comments on your website?" The guy would be like, "Where's web guy? Come here. Hey, do we have comments on the site? No, we don't have
What do we
comments.
need those for?
Yeah, we don't need thanks."
Yeah. So it was different. I enjoyed them both equally, I think, but it was that I think that's how anyway. That's enough I'll say for now on it. It's just that
What's the other conference? There's another one in Vegas. It's like $800.
Loop Conf.
Loop Conf.
Yeah.
Another developer one. That's a deeper dive and expensive. And those, what's interesting is, people always say, why aren't WordCamps during the week? Well, again, it's because it attracts more beginners. It attracts more DIY, or DIY stuff versus Loop or Pressnomics. That's more the business aspect where a company may pay for you to go. It's the old school. When I used to go to conferences for Apple stuff, it was midweek. At even Macworlds were, 2-3 days back in the day. Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's what that kind of thing. Yep. But they would have like a Monday, Tuesday would be discussions and talks. But those were, the tickets were, there was different level tickets up to like $1,500, right? WWDC is another one in that level where it's a lottery to get in. It still costs like $4,000, but there's that value, or at least a perceived value, right?
Right. Well, if you have that one question, and that one question is going to be answered by that one Apple developer that you don't have access to, and you just walk in the room and the guy's standing right there, and you're just like, how do I make the thing work? And he goes, well, you do this, and you're like, boom, and now you just launched your product because now the thing works. Totally worth it. It was worth whatever it cost you to get there. I go to conferences for my work where I've gone to Apple conferences and tech conferences. I go to church tech conferences where you go in there and people are like, how many of you use Drupal? And then you see people couple raise their hand. How many use Joomla? And then the WordPress and the whole room lights up. And then I'm like, I'm a WordPress developer, and they're like, what? It's just the whole thing changes because you may be the only person in there that's a WordPress developer. Which kind of goes around to like what Bridget did recently, I think with you as well, Adam, where you guys went up to San Francisco for that social media
conference. San Jose for the nonprofit.
So like that sort of thing, it's not even a WordPress conference, but there's people there that are totally using WordPress stuff.
There are some people who are.
It was called Nonprofit Technology Conference, the NTC, and they had a day before the actual conference started, with a breakout days, WordPress Day, Drupal Day, Joomla Day. So they had the other, and Salesforce, they had the other areas for focus. And I spoke at WordPress, and it brought it back to I met somebody at my talk. The talk I did, I normally do in 90 minutes. They gave me 35.
Yeah, it was the best.
So so it was quick. At the end of that, a woman by the name of, there's somebody from who says, "Hey, can you do that talk slower?" I'm like slower. She goes, "No, more in depth." I'm like, "I can do it any length you need." So she was actually asking for like a training, if I could come do an on-site training for the nonprofit. I'm like, "Absolutely. I travel, whatever you need." She goes, "Are you ever in Florida?" I'm like, "Yeah, I pop down every Wednesday." So I sent her a proposal. She said, and when they get the funding for maybe 2016, 2017, if I can go to like a WordCamp, if I can double dip, if I can go to a camp, I can go early. That way it can save them some of my expense.
So to kind of answer your question, Jason, I think if you're looking at this and you're trying to figure out, is it worth it for me to go to a WordPress specific conference, be it whatever it is, or something that's a very specific vertical that you're working in, or that particular niche, or whatever, you kind of have to look at that and say, is it the $40? Is $40 going to get me a whole lot for what I'm trying to do? Or I'm just trying to drum up a bunch of business. If you're trying to drum up a bunch of business and it's outside the WordPress ecosystem, maybe you should go to one of those conferences and go do that.
If they're not already using WordPress, they cannot use our product. So first, you have an extra step in the conversion process.
Yep.
And it's really spendy.
Yeah.
So I think if you're trying to do the business one way, then you have to then say, okay, it's not worth the $40. It's worth $500 for a tabletop.
Well, let's say that let's say a Yelp conf happens or something. All it is Yelp, and it's just Yelpers all over the place, right? I would totally go to that if I was WordImpress. I'd go to Yelp Conf and be like, all right, Yelpers, how many of you guys have websites? I'm like, yeah, WordPress, yeah. And you're like, okay, perfect. You know, the 30% of you that are here use WordPress. Let's go over here and you can go buy my product.
Yeah,
Right.
but
It's-
it breaks down
you're
to
playing
the
a
per
number-
capita.
Yeah, you're playing a numbers game then. Sure.
Yeah, but if one of their
It's fine.
products is Yelp
Right.
and the entire room is a bunch of Yelpers, you just cut out everything else because you know that those people have websites because they have Yelp.
This is true, but they could be on Wix or Squarespace, and then it's like,
Then you get them converted.
Melting, she said Wix.
Well, you know, the thing is that we're sponsored by Wix, so it works out that way.
it does. They do the pre-roll. I was trying to get them to do the pre-roll on WP Water Cooler. I'm like, why don't you guys do the pre-roll? Anyway,
How about some of the? Have any of you ever been to like one of the general like blogging conferences?
no
Like
way.
blog her or something like that.
Blogger or like I don't know. I mean, I haven't been. I haven't
Social
been to one.
Media
went to-
World is the same price as my rent.
Wow.
It's
I
really
went to New Media Expo for 2 years in Vegas.
Yeah.
And so New Media Expo was the thing. It was a different, it was YouTube, podcasting, blogging, kind of mixed, and
Yep.
it was doing really well for a while. It used to be called Blog
Podcasting,
World.
Media Expo, Block World, they kind of all merged together.
It became New Media Expo, and then it died.
Hmm.
And because podcasting broke out into podcast movement, Jared Easley is a friend of mine. Him and some other guys started podcast movement to be focused on podcasting. I couldn't go the last 2 years because it's midweek. It was in, I forgot where it was the first year, Texas. And this year it was in Chicago. Next year I'm going, it'll be in San Diego. And I don't work for anybody anymore, so I can go where the hell I want to go.
yeah, South by Southwest. You'll have your own
right.
little booth. I'll
But,
set up
you know,
your WordPress site.
Yes, so those conferences I went to those initially. First year I went, I was strapped for cash and desperate for a job. I couldn't start something new. I couldn't start my podcast. I got lucky with my buddy Dustin. He had a free ticket because he was speaking. And I don't know even where I stayed. I have no idea where I even stayed, honestly, that first year. Second year, I was things were better, but yeah, those non-WordPress conferences, I want to do more of those actually, and speak at other topics, not necessarily just all WordPress anymore. That's part of my longer stretch, my longer goals. The other one I want to go to is I really like to go to, what's the one in Oregon? World Domination Summit.
That sounds like a different niche.
World Domination Summit.
Yeah, it's put on by. Hold on, I have the guy who wrote. There's a book he wrote. I don't know who. Someone chime in. Who wrote the book about this guy? Hold on a second. I don't want to. I don't know. I'm not Seth. I'll just do it this way. World Domination.
I know there's another pro one. What's it called?
Did they?
What?
I don't know. There is, but so
We're waiting for Adam to Google. He could have hit the share screen button and we could have seen it happen, but
Oh, is there a share screen button?
no, don't do it.
I don't see that.
It would be so small. It'd be like we're sitting here playing James Bond on the Nintendo, dude. It would not be fun.
Right. I can't think of the guy's name. He wrote a book. I think it's the one that wrote. Oh, here's the story. Here we go. It was created by. I'm just looking for his name here. Hold on. Yes. Where is his name? Oh, really?
Really?
Doesn't even say. Really?
Really?
So I'm looking at like the social media marketing world, like the one that Jen put in the chat here, and also like Blogger. These ones have been around for a while, especially Blogger's been around for quite a while. But Elevate was another one.
Yeah.
But so
That's
yeah,
the one
there's
that
these.
Jen Miller brought up. I know
Yeah,
people
so-
can block her.
So those are the ones that you would want to go to if that's your target market. Which Jason, you're looking for bloggers that want to put comment boxes on their site and be able to make it shoot off emails. Ta-da! It's perfect. Yeah, like those are the people you'd want to go to and start pimping out your wares. I mean, that sounds like the perfect place to do that sort of thing.
Here it is. It's Chris Gillibo. Chris Gillibo, Happiness Pursuit.
Oh,
He traveled.
okay.
He's been in every country in the world. That was one of his main goals. And now he also has this conference. It's called World Domination Summit. Great book. I mean, the conference looks amazing. It's once a year. It sells out like within hours. I will try to go next year at this point. I mean, this year already came and went. So I recommend the
Very
book
cool.
highly. Great book. And it's, I mean, his goal was to hit every country, and he did it. He had a job, and he did some other work, but he would just go. He figured out a way to do it. It's one of those bucket list things. But you don't have to do that. You do what you want to do. The happiness of pursuit. Pursue what makes you happy. Make it a movement, if you will, for yourself. So anyway, it's 9:00.
I just know that Fire Talk has a hard stop at 90 minutes. I don't know when we started. So
Yeah, well, we started late, so I thought we'd just give ourselves a few, but that's fine. I think we can wrap it
in
on
case
up.
it just stops on us, is all I'm saying. Like we didn't
Oh.
disconnect people. That's a disclaimer.
Yeah, when I hit the end button, we just get disconnected. Yeah.
Okay.
So real quick before we totally wrap up here, Adam, where can people go find you? And now that you got your new thing, tell us where can people go and throw money at you?
If you want to throw money at me,
Dollar.
you could sponsor the podcast, kitchensinkWP.com, for one. Dance for Jen. Or I'm on Twitter. Hey Adam Silver. Hey Adam Silver. I'm also over at Kitchen Sink WP. And then Concierge WP would be if you really want to throw money at me. There's that too. I do the support and services for some businesses, small businesses. But we'll talk. I'm relaunching my company, my parent company name website, so people can see the brands I do. But that's a couple weeks out still. There.
Awesome.
Thanks, Bridget. All right, that's it.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. What about you, Jason? Where can folks find you and find your product and all that sort of fun stuff?
Oh, my connection's going funny again.
Just tell us who
Jason's
you
pretend that
are.
everything's okay.
Yeah, tell us who
Okay.
you are. Where do people go?
Jason Lemire. I am on Twitter at GoPostmatic and GoPostmatic.com, or Jason at GoPostmatic.com. It all is the same. And you could throw money at me there. I also, we're bootstrapped and of a small agency as well, but our website hasn't been updated since 1998, so I'm not going to give you the URL. But
Does it have geocities.com in the URL at all?
it does not, but it literally is a placeholder that's been there since about 2004.
Wow.
Oh, awesome.
Which is good because that means we've been busy.
Yeah.
So we do WordPress development. Bridget, you probably don't know this. We actually Postmatic was born out of the nonprofit WordPress sector.
Oh, I
very
didn't know
cool.
that. I did not.
WordPress for nonprofit stuff for about 10 years.
That is weird, wild stuff. I did not know that.
It is very weird.
No, I
That
didn't.
is weird, wild stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's where we came from. We built the guts of it for one of our an NGO that does work in sub-Saharan Africa. I was like,
Nice.
all of our users are offline. What are we gonna
Right.
do? They have email. I'm like, I don't know, we're gonna do some email.
Oh,
That's
that's smart. That's a good story. You should tell that.
I'll tell you the story someday. It's cool.
Very,
video.
very cool.
So,
Yeah.
with Matt Cromwell. So,
Go back.
he's going to do webinars and stuff now. But anyway, that's how I found out about Jason, because I watched your guys' blab.
Yes.
And
Jason,
then
with which Jason? Jason
Jason-
Tucker's there, and Jason Lemieux's there.
Jason
Okay.
from Postmatic.
It never works.
Are you telling everybody where to go to leave comments and stuff? I mean, is that what's happening here?
I don't know. I'm giddy.
Awesome.
Thursday. But I use GoPostmatic on BridgetWiller.com, and I now have committed to blogging every Saturday, which means I will be spending a wild Friday night writing something again.
Nice. Good for you to commit.
Well, I write now for my job. I'm out. I have no more words left in my brain at Friday night.
I tried my third attempt at blogging last year, and I got 2 posts out.
Well, I will tell you,
Hello world again.
I know somebody who will totally blog for you, Jason. And,
Jen blogs for you.
JenBlogsForYou.com. Go over there to our website. She'll be more than happy to help you out.
Jen,
Jen, you owe
blogs.
me $5. That's it, folks. Go over to our website at WRcore.com. Click on the links to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Go and hit the thumbs up button and go down and leave a comment over in the description area. And if you like this thing, hit the little share button and tell everybody on the Twitters or on the Facebooks all about us. I'd appreciate it. You have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.